my name is Daniela. Today I will be discussing the article, The Making of Adopting Data Standards. So to begin, what are health data standards? Health data standards are a sort of language which various systems are interpreted from one system to another, and the key to enhancing the current systems that are currently used in health, small and large. We use standards every day, data standards every day, about a debit card and how it works at any machine or any store. It's that allows that interoperability. We need health data standards for interoperability. Imagine reading a book where the author made own words or structure. It would get very confusing. Standards are in place for people to understand the processes in place for different steps and processes. So interoperability encompasses definition names and permissible values for elements. These data elements create document systems and applications, such as electronic health. An SDO is the Standards Development Organization, which different companies and groups through to create standards and then use. All standards must be implemented by organizations communicate electronically with. Oftentimes, this is necessary by federal law. A few different standards, such as the EHR and the SDO that created this used in those EHR. So we also can use health data standards to decrease or workarounds. The facility I work at, we have called the where our radiology the system that our radiologists use to dictate reports does not cross over the health record the way our system that we use to dictate, for example, summaries does. So when we find out that there's a echocardiogram for old that needs to print out that record and scan it into our legal health record. There's a process of that things cannot scan in properly. If there was a health data standard in place, this cardiogram would be in error. So there are requirements as well as multiple methods used with data standards. This lists the requirements as the need for realization from a business company that removing barriers and expanding markets would be beneficial, as well as tech expertise. So a group of together ad hoc standard. This would be done maybe in a where your supervising managers decide that a certain percentage. The government can also mandate a standard. For example, incorporating ICD-10, October, market competition and technology adoption can introduce de facto standard. For example, when a company creates it may interact well with previous. There's also a full consensus process and take place in the system, which will in a few minutes. The SDO that I mentioned earlier, you may be familiar with a few of them. These SDOs are approved by American National Standards Institute, which is the ANSI, a non-profit organization that administers following. The ANSI defines the and standard approved by ANSI, American National Standards. Being accredited by the ANSI is a desirable for standard. It's not required as similar to the Joint Commission. It's not to be desirable. So with implementing anything, there are always issues. Things that I found interesting are competition, the balloting process, and increased involvement of stakeholders. Competition among the SDOs, there is competition among the SDOs as more organizations enter the business of creating health data standards in the hopes that theirs will become the national standard. Standards, the more choice there is for healthcare organizations to pick from. There's multiple standards being used and a interoperability rate, which is basically the whole point of implementing standards. The author did not give a reason for this. He just stated that there will always be competition. I thought the process was an interesting issue because it's long and tedious. 90% of all ballots must be in favor of the standard. To be the ballots must be accompanied by a detailed explanation, and any issues uncovered in the explanations must be resolved. That is redone. New versions of standards are being created before the old is even approved because of this long ballot process. As a solution, a shorter balloting process will be put into place. But we don't want to quality that errors are implemented along the way because of the process. As well, stakeholders are being utilized at an increasing rate. All standards be tested, and different organizations are acquiring stakeholder testing. It takes away from the stakeholders' own work and becomes more of a burden. Scenarios are created by the organizations that create these health data standards with the clinical expert, which would be them, what works well and what doesn't. Triggers need to be in place, and what would actually help the HIM in a life. So the author lists some solutions, his own solutions. He believes the best way to handle health data standards is a new elected board in the private sector with the authority to manage all aspects of health. I believe a government agency would be better suited to handle the standardization of HDSs. I agree with the author in utilizing an elected board, but I don't think a private sector organization should charge of creating that we all must adhere to. I don't think the organization would have enough authority to designate what standards are required. You also don't know what influences are upon a private sector organization. The idea in having a team of clinical experts who will complete all the testing requirements of each individual organization and their own clinical experts. This will save time and allow opinions to be made by the same people testing each. I am excited to hear if any of y'all have solutions that could the implementation process of health data standards, or what you think about the issue. Resources. The article is very interesting, and I encourage you all to look at it.